Hello and welcome to another video from Between CAD Classes. This time I'm doing some 3D modeling in AutoCAD and I will be creating the part that you see here. If you take a look at it, it is basically a series of multiple extrusions stacked on top of each other, and I can approach this a couple of different ways. One, I could adjust my UCS each time I want to create a different shape. Or instead, what I'm going to do that I think is simpler in AutoCAD is I'm going to go ahead and create all of my shapes on one plane, and then I will move them together. I find this easier because I don't have to constantly adjust my UCS. If you would like to try this along with me, you can find a link to the detailed drawing in the description of this video. I'm going to begin by drawing the diameter 1 3/8 inch circle that gets extruded 0.15. So I will go to my Home tab and start my circle command and switch to diameter and put in 1.375. And I'll zoom in on this. So I'm actually going to wait to extrude. I'm going to go ahead and draw all of my 2D profiles first. So the next shape, I will begin once again with the circle command. And this one will have a radius of 1. Then I'm going to come down 1.375 and over 1.375 to locate the second one. So I'll just do a couple of construction lines here. One down 1.375 and then to the right 1.375. And then I will create another circle here, this time with a radius of 0.45. I'll erase my construction lines here. And then I will draw in some tangent lines. So I'll do my line command. I'm going to use my shift right click overrides and choose tangent this way. So tangent to that circle, tangent to that circle. And then I'll repeat the command and shift right click tangent again, and then one more time. Then I'll go ahead and trim out the portions that I don't need. Next, I'm going to work on the little notched cutout shape here. So to do this, I'm going to create a line from center to center here. And then I'm going to extend that to meet the arc down on the bottom right. Then I'm going to start with the circle for the cutout, which is a radius of 0.2. So I'll snap to the center here and put in a radius of 0.2. Then I'm going to draw in the arc shape here. So this has a radius of 0.125, which this width right here is already 1/4 inch. And I'm going to use the 2-point circle for this one. So I'm going to click the drop down next to circle, choose 2 point. I'll choose this intersection for 1 point, and then the end point over here for my second point. Next, I'm going to draw the line for the cutout here, and if I start my line at this intersection, I don't really have an easy way to draw perpendicular to the line that I'm coming off of. So instead, I am going to draw a line out in space perpendicular to that line, and then I'm going to move it. So I'll use my move command, select the line and enter. I'll go from its endpoint to this intersection here. Then I'm ready to do some trimming. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this original construction line here. Then I'll use my trim command and trim out the portions of this cutout that I do not need. Then I need to add in a fillet with a radius of 0.25. So I'll select my fillet command, select radius, enter 0.25 and enter. Then I'll go ahead and fillet that shape there. Then I'm going to go ahead and join this together into one polyline. So I'll type J and enter, or you can click the modify drop down and select join here and select all those shapes, and they should now be one selectable polyline. You'll notice on the detailed drawing there is a hole that cuts through each of these. Rather than including them in each of the original features, I'm going to do that as a separate feature at the end. So next I have another cylinder with a diameter of 1 this time, so I'll draw a circle back to my center diameter, and then enter 1 for my diameter. And then finally I have the frontmost shape here, so I'll begin with a circle with a radius of 0.688. And then 2 inches above that is one with a radius of 0.375. So I'm going to use my tracking tool for this one. I'm going to track off of the endpoint, come straight up to an enter. That will locate the center, and then a radius of 0.375 for this one. Then, just like I did before, I'm going to draw some tangent lines. So I'll start with my line, shift right click tangent, shift right click tangent. Of course, you could set tangent in your running snaps. I find that sometimes it gets in the way, so I like to just do it as an override, especially because I don't use it that often. There we go. Then I can go ahead and trim those out. Then I'm ready for the slot shape here. So I'll draw a circle with a radius of 0.2 here. And then I'm going to copy it down 0.625. So I'll choose copy, select the circle and press enter. I'll pick the center as its base point, and then I'm coming down 0.625 and enter. Now I can go ahead and draw some lines from the quadrants, and then trim. Once again, I'm going to do some joining here, so I'm going to go to Modify and Join. I'll just window around everything and enter, and that should create 2 separate polylines there for me. Finally, I'm going to create a cylinder for the hole. So the hole has a diameter of 0.75, so I'll draw a center diameter circle with a diameter of 0.75. Now I'm ready to turn these into 3D parts, so I'm going to click the home icon on my view cube, and I'm going to start doing some extruding. So this first feature is to be extruded 0.15, so I'll choose extrude, select it and enter, 0.15 and enter to bring that up. Of course, if you want, you can switch to a shaded mode. So here in the upper left corner, I'll change from 2D wireframe to shaded with edges. I'll extrude my next shape. This time it is 0.25. And then the next little cylinder is extruded 1/2 inch. 0.5 and enter. On this one, I've actually got 2 shapes, so I'm going to have to do some subtracting. This is going to be extruded 1/4 inch. So I'll extrude, and I'll just select both of these and enter. And we'll go up 0.25 and enter. But then I'm going to come back with the subtract command. So subtract, select my main shape and enter, then select the portion I want to subtract and enter to create that shape. And then finally the cylinder. For this part, the entire depth is going to be 1 inch. So as long as I extrude it at least 1 inch, I can use it to cut things out. So I'm going to extrude it 1 inch and enter. Now I'm ready to assemble my part. So I'm going to be using the move command and the center snap for most of these. So I'll select my move command, I'll select the second shape I made and press enter. I'm going to snap to the center of the bottom arc. So I'll use my overrides to make sure I get the right thing. So I'm going to shift right click and choose center, and then I'll click on that bottom arc to get its center, and then I'm going to shift right click center again, and then I'm going to click on the top circle to get that to go right on top of the other shape. So I'll do the same thing with the next shape. Move, select the shape and enter. I'm going to shift right click center and select the bottom arc to get its center. Then shift right click center and then snap to the top arc to get that to sit right on top. And then the next part, once again, I will move, select the shape and enter, shift right click center, and I'm going to pick the bottom arc, then shift right click center and pick the top of this cylinder. So there we can see that stacked nicely. I'll bring this shape over in just a moment. Before I do, I want to go ahead and union all 4 of these shapes into one solid. So I will select my union command, select all my shapes and press enter, and now we can see that it's one solid. That way I only need to do 1 subtraction for this cylinder. So I'll go ahead and move the cylinder, Once again, snapping to the center of the top, and then I will snap to the center of the top of the part here. Then I'm ready to subtract. So I'll select subtract, select my main shape and press enter, then select my cylinder and press enter. And now I can see that while it made the cut, it didn't go all the way through. This happens sometimes when the extrusion shape is the same thickness as the part I'm trying to cut out. So often I'll instead extrude a little bit more. So I'm just going to undo to pull that cylinder back over here, and I'm going to go ahead and just move it a little closer so I can zoom in on this. So I want this to be a little bit taller. Since I've already extruded it, I'm going to use press pull, and then I'm going to click on that top cylinder, and then I'm just going to press pull it up a little bit. I don't have a specific value as long as this cylinder is longer than the shape I'm trying to cut out. So let's try this again. I'll move the cylinder from the top center to the top center of this shape here. So we can see that it extends down past the part now. Let's try the subtract one more time. So subtract, select the main shape and press enter, select the cylinder to cut out and press enter, and now we can see that we actually have a full cutout there. So I will go ahead and select my home button here to see my final part in an isometric view. As I mentioned at the top of the video, we could have done this a little bit differently and actually changed our UCS each time, but anytime I have features stacked on top of each other, in AutoCAD I find it easier to go ahead and sketch them on one plane and then move them all together. I hope you found this tutorial useful. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.